Hello, this is a very brief introduction to the NKN client and how to use it. So on the very high level, what the NKN client provides is a way to communicate between peers without any centralized server. So traditionally, the peer-to-peer communications are helped with a centralized server to relay the data for them, because the IP address is not a permanent identifier and is not even identity for the user, so that it's very hard for the peers to communicate directly with through the IP layer. Not to mention there are many other problems like the net or the firewall. But in the decentralized application, it is very hard to do it without the help of any centralized server. So basically, that's what NKN does. So the NKN nodes provide a decentralized data transmission network that help relay the data for the client, so that the client can talk to each other using like some permanent identity. We have already open sourced our client, JavaScript client here on the GitHub, and also we have a few like other client implementation in, let's say, for example, in Java and C# that is done by the community members. So in order to use NKN client, it's very straightforward. You just install it. If you're using npm, or if you're using in the browser, you can use the distribution version. And after you have imported, you can initialize the NKN client. So without any parameter, it will generate a key pair for you, or an NKN address for you. So the NKN address, so in order to identify a client, each client has an NKN address, which consists of two parts. The first part is a public key, and the second part is an identifier. So the public key is used for like identity and encryption or the verification and other purposes. So we know that so basically with the public key in the address scheme, the end-to-end encryption can be done really easily without any centralized public key infrastructure, which greatly enhances security. And so the identifier is nothing but just an arbitrary string used to differentiate different applications using the same public key. So having the public key in the NKN address is not a very user-friendly way, because no one is going to remember the public key. So that's why we have a like very basic name service already on the blockchain. So it's done by the community member. And also we are working with Portal Network to provide a more complete and mature solution to the name service. So by default, when you create a client, it will connect it to our testnet here. So it's a live testnet. You can see that now it's around like 2,600 nodes, and actually among them only around 100 are our nodes. So the rest are all community nodes. So when the client is connected to at least one node, it will trigger a few events. So the first time it connected to a node, it will trigger a connect event, so which let you know that the client is ready to send and receive data. So after the connect event has been triggered, the client can start sending or receiving data to other NKN address. So the most basic way is that you send message to another NKN client address with let's say a stream message, or with an arbitrary like byte array as a binary message. So this is the sending part, very simple. And on the receiving part, the client will trigger the message event, and the callback will be the callback you registered here will be called. So the callback have three parameters: the source address who sent the message, and the payload, that is the message itself, and the payload type that can be either a string, a text message, or binary message, depending on whether the client sends a string or a binary message to you. So at the end of this onMessage callback, you can choose to return a message back or send a response back to the sender. So the response can be like either a same way on either a string or a byte array. So the send method actually gives you a promise that will be resolved when it receives a response from the destination client. So the parameter it resolve with is a response got from the destination client, and if it doesn't get a response, it will throw an error here. So if you decide not to send back a response, the destination client will still send an acknowledgement message automatically to the sender client, so that the sender will know, okay, the message has been delivered and handled by the other client. So in this case, the promise will be resolved without any parameter, so that you know, okay, you receive acknowledgement here. And in the future, we are changing this acknowledgement to an optional thing, so that for like a more performance-intensive application, you don't need to waste this acknowledgement message. So you can set a timeout when sending the message, so that you can control when the client will give you an error here. So some of you have probably already seen the Space Cat video. So it's basically a peer-to-peer game developed using NKN Client. So it uses NKN Client to send regular updates to each other, actually 30 times per second, about the player's location and their action, and also like they can chat with each other also. And also we put this code into the examples. There is a node example, so that you can run the example using Node.js, and it will send a message first, and the receiver client will print out what message it receives and send back the response, and the sender client will be able to know, okay, this is a response I get from the receiver. And also on our testnet page, there is a very simple bare minimum messenger built on top of NKN. So this here, both are NKN client, a JavaScript client we just saw, and let's say the Yilun client wants to send a message to the Superman, and when it sends a message, the message is being relayed in the testnet to the Superman client. And so you can see that the latency is on the milliseconds level, but actually there are still like a lot to optimize in the future in terms of both latency and throughput, and also like reliability. But at this stage, we already have a fairly usable and relatively stable version of the testnet as well as the client, so that we can build really cool applications. So I guess that's it.